Hey, it's Chris. A really good question was just posted on our forum asking what is the average increase in premium for Plan F and Plan G? And while that's very specific to an individual company based on their profit margin that they want to have and their loss ratio from the year before, the rate increases are specific to which plan. So Mutual of Omaha with Plan F, for instance, is going to have their own set of numbers from their losses as to what they need to carry into the next year and raise those rates even more. What I've always advocated is if you're doing a replacement, which is somebody's going to go through underwriting anyway, explain to them the differences in Plan G. And one of the big differences in Plan G are better rate increases. That's because people in the pool of Plan G are usually healthier. Now remember, when you're replacing somebody, if it's a guaranteed issue, that is they're losing their employer plan, or they've gotten kicked out of a Medicare Advantage plan that's not there anymore, or something has gone on to give them a guaranteed issue opportunity. We're not talking about just joining Medicare, because that's different. But a guaranteed issue scenario where they're usually losing employer coverage, that only allows them to get on Plan F, not Plan G. If they want Plan G, they've got to go through health underwriting. Now, the health questions are the same for any plan that they want, but just keep in mind that Plan G always has to be underwritten. And that's one of the reasons for this. These rates right here are indicative of what I've always said. As you'll see, Plan F, in this example, this was GPM Life a couple years ago. Plan F went up 15%. That's pretty significant, while Plan G only 8%. Look at some other examples here. This is from Forethought, announcing their rate increases across the country. This was a couple years ago. And you can see a consistent difference between Plan F, look at North Carolina, 15%, versus Plan G, 9%. So we can only switch plans, remember, year after year if your health remains good. At the point in which your health turns bad, it's like a game of musical chairs. You got to sit down and stay there. So what I always tell my clients is, if I'm going to move you to a plan, I want you to have the plan that I know historically, regardless of company, you're going to have the best experience when it comes to rate increases. Here's another example. This is Mutual of Omaha last year. Rate increase on Plan G, 12.5. That's really high anyway. Plan F, though, 18.5%. That's god-awful, and that's not very common, but this is a mutual deal. And this is their old business before it went into modernized plans, 14% for Plan F, and again, 8.5% Plan G. Consistently, time after time, we're always seeing better rate increases with Plan G. And it's hard to predict the future, but what I can tell you is there are certain companies that have been better on rate increases in the past. Those companies are companies like Medico, New Era Life, who had a 0% rate increase last year on Plan G and a 6% on Plan F. So one of the things that some agents rely upon is the CSG actuarial tool when it comes to rate increase history. And I'll just show you that tool real quick, but I'll also show you why you don't want to rely on it exclusively for this information, because it's not always that accurate. Let me bring that up real quick. I'm going to show you just an example of a quote for somebody in, let's say, South Carolina. A 70-year-old female, which is about my average client. Okay, so you're going to see a couple of companies here. I'm going to look at some oldies but goodies. Cigna's pretty new. American Continental's been around, and Medico is usually consistent with their rate increases. Equitable just refiled. So let's compare. Once we've checked these boxes to compare on the CSG quote engine, and if you don't know how to get that, look under the Tools You Need section of MedicareAgentTraining.com. This gives you some numbers here of the average increases for these companies. This is not indicative of a state increase. This is just company-wide, and these numbers are not right. I can tell you right now. Cigna, first of all, is just new in the market, so they've not even had a rate increase yet. Medico is a little bit higher than this, but that's kind of close, and Equitable had some big rate increases before they just refiled. Having refiled, there's no experience on rate increases. So these numbers are a little bit misleading, but if you pull this up and you're trying to, maybe sell against Medico and try to sell Cigna, it may help you in those numbers, but I would not rely on that to give you an indication as to what the average rate increases are, because these numbers are just not that accurate. So I hope this helps a little bit, knowing the average rate increases. I can't tell you specifically on what company and what state. Research could tell you, but I can always tell you Plan F is always going to have a better increase than Plan G. Thanks for watching.